host Lopamudra Dash from Outland Media. Today, our guest is Benny White, candidate for city mayor. He ensures that the city moves forward on safety, desirability, and community. A warm welcome to Benny White to the Talk with Outland Media. What do you believe is the role of mayor towards the community?
Well, Lopa, thank you so much for having me here, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to everyone. But the role of our mayor is really to be the ambassador for our community. They've got to be the one, or he or she has to be the one who is out, more or less being a cheerleader for the community, talking to the different residents, asking questions, more importantly, listening to our residents as well, so that we can implement what they think what is important in that particular manner. I will also tell you this: as the mayor is that individual who will make appointments to boards and commissions, and that's something else that I definitely plan on doing and looking at with a lot of scrutiny. I want to ensure that that's a transparent process, and I want to ensure that it represents our community from a demographic standpoint. The diversity of those boards and commissions, I believe, is very important, and not just from what it looks like from a racial standpoint or a religious standpoint, but also where do the residents of Naperville actually live, so that we have from a demographic standpoint, we have people from North Naperville, South Naperville, East and West, downtown. I think it's important that we represent all of those.
Okay. Please describe your previous work in the community and how these experiences qualify you for the position of the mayor.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm a retired military officer. I've served 22 years in the Army. A West Point graduate. So, what I've been doing all that time has really prepared me from a leadership standpoint. I've even gone back to school and have my doctorate in values-driven leadership. So that's some of the stuff that's prepared me from that perspective. The other thing is this: since I've left the military, I served 22 years in the Army. I have been on the Board of Education in Indian Parade 204. I've served on the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners for 2 years, starting in 2015. And for the last 6 years, I've been on the Naperville City Council. So those experiences there have really prepared me. I understand how the city government works, how the school board works as well. I have those experiences from a budgeting standpoint, from a priority standpoint, and so on, understanding that we're listening to our constituents. I've been elected 3 times. This is my 4th election, so I feel somewhat validated in that manner as well. But I think it's important to understand the intricacies of how intergovernmental agencies work. I understand that decisions that I make on the city council affect other government bodies like our school board, and I've served on both of them. So those types of experiences, I think, are extremely important for the mayor to understand what the decisions that are making the second and third order effects of those decisions. It becomes really important.
Okay. What is your leadership style?
Oh, wow. Well, I'll tell you, I've studied several different leadership styles, but the one I'm probably most comfortable with is a participative leadership style, where I'm getting input from other people and asking the questions and so on. But to some level, it's somewhat situational dependent. In fact, there's a leadership style that's called situational type of leadership. So if a decision needs to be made quickly, you don't have time to get input from everyone else. You've got to be decisive and make the decision. When you have a lot more time to plan as you're discussing this particular issues, participative style, I think, becomes more important. So it's somewhat of a situational type of leadership, I would say, coupled with a participative leadership style.
Okay. What are the endorsements you have received?
Ooh, wow, endorsements. I've received so many endorsements, so much excitement in the community right now. First of all, I was initially endorsed by the Naperville Professional Firefighters Union. I've been endorsed by the Daily Herald. Our laborers union has endorsed me. I have an endorsement from our Secretary of State, Mr. Jesse White, the longest serving Secretary of State in the history of the country, quite frankly. I've just received an endorsement from Dick Durbin as well. I have Lauren Underwood, Congresswoman Lauren Underwood. Congressman Sean Casten has endorsed me. Our state reps, our state senators have reached out to me and endorsed me as well. I have Janet Yang Rohr. I have Laura Elman as well. Stephanie Kifowitz has reached out. So I'm hoping I'm not leaving anyone out, but just a lot of endorsements, more that are probably are coming as well. And I'm really excited about the opportunity and the confidence that these people who are endorsing me have in me.
What is the challenge for the city?
Ooh, wow. I will tell you the biggest challenge for the city right now, we've got a few. I think, first of all, IMEA, our energy, where we get our electricity down in southern Illinois, that's going to be a big challenge for us. Right now, they produced electricity for our city. We signed this contract years ago, but 70% of the electricity that they produce comes from coal, and it's really polluting the air. It's one of the top 7 worst polluters in the country, quite frankly. And we are the majority share owner of that particular contract. Well, there's more of a conglomerate. We're the biggest owner of it, I should say. We have got to make some decisions here in the very near future, because we're getting close to where we have to renew that contract or not. And what we really need to do is to leverage our ownership in IMEA to get them to go to more renewable type of sources. So that's one. I think housing choices, I believe, is another one. And all this really fits under what I would call sustainability. The clean energy is clearly a sustainability issue, but having housing choices is one as well. We have the safest community in America. And that's, and I would contribute that to our firefighters and our police officers, as well as our schools are tops in the country. But you ask them where they live, better yet, ask them where they don't live, and they'll tell you it's not Naperville because they can't afford to live here. So we've got to come to grips with this. We're doing some good work. We just passed about a month ago affordable housing ordinance that would incentivize developers to come into Naperville and make housing that's affordable to what Naperville feels like is affordable. And which brings up another issue. We have to be able to define what affordable is here in our community. But those are two of the main things from a sustainability standpoint that we have got to address, so that people who live in this great community, that make this community what it is, have the opportunity to actually live here.
Okay. What is your approach to handle controversial and complicated issues?
Yes, I've been, again, my sweet spot is leadership, and that's what that really comes down to, is leadership. A leader has to have the ability to listen to people. All right, bring people into the room and you listen, and not so much direct at that point, but listen to see what the issue is, and then come up with some guidance and some recommendations on how to work with those particular things. That might involve getting 2 people in a room. It may involve going out into the community, depending on what the issue is, and getting input from the community as well. But there's times where, since being on the city council, there were some controversial things that we had to deal with. And when it came to the cannabis, for example, there was this, controversy on both sides. It was the one time we actually took the situation to the voters and let them vote on it in the form of a referendum. But then there's others as well, where we as a council have to talk things out. Sometimes it takes a couple of council members going one-on-one behind closed doors, because we are allowed to do that. We can meet with one other person, but when you get more than that, you have to do it in public. But those are the types of conversations that take place to help resolve controversy, in my opinion.
Okay. What is new you would like to do for Naperville?
Well, I have some ideas. There's a few things I think we need to be thinking about. For Naperville, the leadership needs to be that cheerleader. You asked that question at first, and I think I gave you the answer, need to be that ambassador. But here's a couple of things we need to be thinking about. We are 8 years away from our bicentennial,
Wow.
We need to start thinking about what do we want that to look like? You know, do we want to build a particular structure? Do we want to have a particular program? We need to start thinking about forming committees, task force that will be in charge of the bicentennial. Now let's get on it now, and let's not wait till the last minute. The other thing I want to do for Naperville, and I'm going to call it 3 things for Naperville. We talk about how great this community is and all the things that it offers us with the public safety, the schools, the parks, the library. They're all outstanding. So now it's our turn to see what we can do for Naperville. So here's what I'm going to propose once I'm elected. And I'm not sure where the age might start. We'll start off, say, junior high and above. Everyone in this community signs up that they're going to do 3 things for our community. Okay, we can formalize it. We can play around with that a little bit. But what an opportunity to bring this community together. You think about it. If we all decide to go and we're going to clean up a particular park, for example, and let's say 100 people show up at the park, and we're all doing our part, and we're cleaning up, and we're doing those things. And you know what? While you're in the process of doing that, conversation takes place. And as you're conversing with other people, you're getting to know them, and hopefully there's people from different backgrounds. Our community right now is 37% minority. Those are opportunities for us all to just get to know each other.
Yeah.
Because when you have conversations, and I'm talking about not just any conversation, but courageous conversations, that's when you start seeing change, and you start seeing understanding of each other. Because at the end of the day, what we're going to find out is we have way more in common than we have what's different. And that's different. So 3 things for Naperville, I think is a great thing that we can do in our community.
Yeah. So we hear a lot from candidates that they're speaking about safety and how to work on it. What are your views about it?
Yeah, well, let's start off with this. We're blessed to have the safest community in America for cities over 100,000. It's not something I'm just saying. It's the data supports that. Organizations have recognized our community from the safe practices that we use. Now, does that mean we don't have crime? Well, we do have our crime, but when we have it, we need to make sure that we're doing our best to address it. We put resources toward whatever that particular crime area is, and we go for it. But understand this: when it comes to crime, the first line of defense is not the police; it's us, the residents. We're the first eyes, and we see it, and we've got to be vigilant and understand those types of things. When you look at our police, for example, a lot of folks say we need more police because they protect us. Understand this: police, 90% of the time, they are responding to a crime. They're not already there to prevent it. People aren't going to commit a crime when they see the police there. So usually they're responding to a crime. So the residents got to be the first line of defense and identifying, being vigilant, as I said before.
Do you think you have any personal or professional relationship that could become a conflict of interest while serving?
No, I don't, but I would definitely keep an eye out there. I have a lot of supporters, and so I want to ensure that there are no conflicts of interest. But you know what? If there is, I will definitely use our ethics laws to recuse myself if anything like that comes before the council, and we'll be fine in that particular area. But I've been working these types of issues since I've been on the city council. Understanding as a mayor, there's more and more responsibility. You have to be more aware of what's happening and who's coming to us for things they would want the city to approve for them.
Okay. What is the first thing you would like to do for the city after you get elected?
The very first thing I'm going to do is there's a community, Ranchview, that was hit by that tornado a couple of years ago. The first thing I want to do is take some of our ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan, and make that community whole. They've been struggling. They have glass that's buried under their yard. The kids can't even go out and play, and to no fault of their own. They were hit by a tornado. Insurance does not cover that. Things outside of the home. It's not money is money. I get that, but we have a lot of ARPA fund, 13.3 million.
Yeah.
We're probably talking about 400,000, maybe 500 max to get them whole. So I think we're going to be fine in that regard.
Okay. To conclude, let me thank Benny White for giving us time from his busy schedule. Thank you for a wonderful interview. And I would like to request all the residents to go out and vote this year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.